Liam placed the stack of glossy 8x10s on the polished surface of Caleb Vance's desk. Each photograph was a carefully curated portrait of a potential suitor, a portfolio of prospects assembled by Caleb's relentless mother. He explained that she was waiting for a selection, a choice for a first meeting. Caleb didn't bother to look up from the quarterly report glowing on his monitor. He offered a curt dismissal, a verbal wall that Liam had become adept at scaling. Liam maintained his professional smile, reminding Caleb that Mrs. Vance was persistent. After all, he was her son's executive assistant, but lately it felt like he worked for her. He pressed the issue, suggesting Caleb could at least glance through them, if only to appease her. Caleb finally lifted his gaze, his eyes cool and dismissive as they swept over the hopeful faces Liam had spread out like a deck of cards. Caleb's rejection was swift and absolute. He had no interest in looking, choosing, or meeting any of them. As Liam began to argue the point, citing Mrs. Vance's expectations, Caleb cut him off with a sharp look. He reminded Liam that his job title was assistant, not matchmaker. The unspoken silenced the protest rising in Liam's throat. The pressure had started a week prior, with a call from Mrs. Vance. Liam had tried to refuse, explaining that it was far outside his duties and that Caleb would likely fire him for even suggesting it. Mrs. Vance had a way of brushing aside such concerns with a disarming laugh. She had asked if he could truly bear to see his boss, a man of 30, remain so utterly single. Liam could, in fact, bear it quite well, being 28 and in the same predicament himself. He had tried to explain Caleb's temperament, how any attempt to meddle in his personal life would be met with swift retribution. Mrs. Vance had simply smiled through the phone, her voice laced with the kind of confidence that came from being at the top of the food chain. She had insisted that if Liam couldn't do it, no one could. The final, decisive blow came in the form of a promise. If Liam succeeded in getting Caleb to at least attend the dates, his salary would be doubled. The words hung in the air, shimmering with possibility. Liam's mind immediately flashed to his downtown apartment and the crippling mortgage that came with it. The refusal died on his lips, replaced by a newfound enthusiasm for challenging tasks. He assured Mrs. Vance that he would complete the mission. And so he stood before Caleb again, his resolve fortified by financial desperation. He tried a different tactic, appealing to Caleb's sense of familial duty. He asked if Caleb felt nothing for his mother's tireless efforts. Caleb's response was that he was, in fact, heartless. Liam suppressed a sigh. He knew this man was more stubborn than principled, but Mrs. Vance's orders were absolute. Caleb finally gave him a considering look, asking why Liam, whose plate was already full, would agree to such a foolish errand. Liam decided a half-truth was in order. He spoke of his profound respect for Mrs. Vance, but Caleb saw right through it, his expression bordering on disgust. Liam then confessed the real reason, the doubled salary. Caleb, a man for whom a bathroom renovation cost more than Liam's annual income, could not comprehend the weight of such an offer. Liam made one last, desperate plea, assuring him the candidates were all exceptional. He started to list their qualities, but his phrasing was clumsy. Caleb ordered him to be quiet if he couldn't speak properly. Liam took a breath and tried to appeal to Caleb's ego, suggesting that while it felt like being put on display, Caleb was the one with the power to choose. He then added a personal, fabricated touch, his voice softening. He lamented that he himself had missed the chance to confess to his own crush, who had recently started dating someone else. He urged Caleb to cherish the opportunity to find someone, an opportunity he no longer had. A strange, predatory smile touched Caleb's lips. It was as if he derived a sliver of pleasure from Liam's supposed misery. Seeing Caleb's resolve finally wavering, Liam delivered the final threat. If Caleb didn't agree, he would have no choice but to report his failure to Mrs. Vance, who would undoubtedly escalate the matter personally. Caleb sighed, his fingers idly flicking through the photos. He stopped on one, a young man with a clean-cut, pleasant face. He agreed to a meeting, instructing Liam to arrange the time and place around his work schedule. As Liam was about to turn away, Caleb stood, his tall frame casting a long shadow. He was nearly a head taller than Liam, and the proximity was intimidating. He added one final condition. He would go, but Liam had to accompany him to every single meeting. Liam sat across from his friend, Chloe, poking at his salad with a distinct lack of enthusiasm. He recounted Caleb's demand, his voice dripping with misery. Chloe found it hilarious, likening Caleb to a child who needed his mother to hold his hand on a date. She asked why he didn't just confess his own feelings to Caleb, especially now that he was actively looking elsewhere. Liam dismissed the idea immediately. Caleb Vance was a man who drew a firm, uncrossable line between his professional and personal lives. Any employee who had ever tried to cross it was met with a polite but icy rejection. For Liam, a confession would lead to two outcomes: rejection and termination. His mortgage loomed too large for such a risk. The week that followed was a masterclass in logistical nightmares. Liam juggled Caleb's demanding schedule, squeezing in blind dates between board meetings and international calls. The thought of simply scheduling the meetings in a spare conference room at the office crossed his mind more than once, a ridiculous fantasy born of pure exhaustion. The first date was with a sweet-faced young man who endured the indignity of Caleb bringing his assistant along. Caleb rejected him on the grounds that their astrological signs were incompatible, claiming it would be detrimental to the company's future. The young man looked to Liam, his eyes wide with disbelief and hurt, before leaving. The second date ended before the appetizers arrived. Caleb bluntly informed the man that he wasn't his physical type. He was a man who cared about aesthetics, he explained without a hint of apology. Liam's briefcase barely shielded Caleb from a splash of iced tea. The third was dismissed for not having the right vibe. After a week of 7 different dates, each ending in a uniquely absurd rejection, Liam was at his wit's end. For the final meeting, he had chosen a candidate he felt was foolproof. The man was handsome, well-mannered, from a respectable family, and possessed a calm demeanor that Liam hoped could withstand Caleb's abrasive personality. The conversation started well enough. Liam watched from a discreet distance, signaling his approval to Caleb. Then, in a move that froze the blood in Liam's veins, Caleb leaned over to him and adjusted his tie. The moment passed, but the air was thick with unspoken tension. Later, when Liam choked on a sip of water, Caleb was at his side instantly, patting his back and wiping his mouth with a napkin in a gesture of startling intimacy. Liam glanced at the date, his expression a silent apology. The man stood up, his face a mask of polite resignation. He stated that since Mr. Vance already seemed to have someone of interest, there was no need to continue. He left without a backward glance. Liam watched him go, feeling the last of his hopes and his potential bonus drain away. He turned to find Caleb sitting serenely, sipping his coffee as if nothing had happened. He knew then that it had all been deliberate. In the car on the way home after a brief, apologetic call to Mrs. Vance, Liam finally broke the silence. He sat up straight and told Caleb, in a tone that was all business, that he needed him to maintain a professional distance. He clarified that actions like adjusting his tie or patting his back were inappropriate between a boss and an employee. Caleb, lounging against the leather seat, had shed his usual stern demeanor. He looked at Liam with a lazy, challenging gaze and asked why. Liam, searching for a safe and irrefutable reason, fell back on his lie. It was because he had someone he liked. That crush he had mentioned. Caleb's expression tightened. He pressed Liam, asking what this person was like. Trapped, Liam described his college senior, a popular and kind man from his memories. Caleb listened intently before delivering his verdict with a sneer. Liam, he said, had terrible taste. The next morning, the universe decided to punish Liam for his lie. As he and Caleb stepped out of the elevator into the executive suite, a cheerful voice called his name. Caleb stopped dead in his tracks. Liam turned, his smile feeling brittle on his face. Standing there was Ethan, his college senior, the very man he had used as a shield the night before. He was their newest hire. Liam quickly ushered a silent, observing Caleb into his office, claiming they had urgent matters to discuss. Later, he found Ethan in the break room. They caught up briefly, Ethan explaining he'd been hired unexpectedly and hadn't had a chance to tell him. Just as Ethan was suggesting they get dinner after work to celebrate, Caleb's voice cut through the air from the doorway. He informed Ethan that Liam was unavailable. He would be working late. That afternoon, another package arrived from Mrs. Vance. It was a new, even thicker stack of photos. Liam, utterly defeated, stormed into Caleb's office and dropped the pile onto his desk. He told Caleb to pick one, anyone, and that he would personally ensure the man arrived at his home, tied up if necessary. Caleb began to flip through the photos with a bored expression. Suddenly, his hands stilled. Liam leaned forward, his heart skipping a beat. Had he finally found someone? But the photo in Caleb's hand was not of a stranger. It was Liam's own company ID photo, which must have gotten mixed in with the others on his desk. Before Liam could snatch it away, Caleb picked it up. He studied it for a moment before turning it to face Liam. He recalled Liam's earlier promise. Fine, he said, his eyes glinting with a dangerous light. He wanted this one, cleaned up and delivered to his bed that night. The words hung in the air, sucking all the oxygen from the room. For a moment, Liam's mind went blank. He knew logically that Caleb was not serious. It was a joke, a cruel way to push back against the pressure he was under. But for a fleeting second, the thought had sparked a genuine, terrifying flutter of hope in his chest. The subsequent crash back to reality was jarring, leaving a bitter taste of humiliation. This wasn't a joke. It was a mockery of feelings Caleb didn't even know he possessed. He found his voice, telling Caleb that he didn't appreciate games like that. Caleb's playful expression vanished, replaced by a cold sneer. He accused Liam of planting the photo intentionally, of trying to get his attention with a transparently manipulative ploy. The accusation was so far from the truth, so deeply insulting, that it broke through Liam's carefully constructed professionalism. He stated that if Caleb truly believed him capable of such a thing, then there was no point in him continuing to work there. He would resign. He reached for the ID photo, but Caleb's hand shot out, pinning it to the desk. Liam pulled, but it wouldn't budge. He let go. It was just a photo. Then Caleb said something Liam never thought he would hear. "I'm sorry." The words were quiet, almost forced. Caleb looked away, rubbing the bridge of his nose. He admitted he had been out of line, that his words were impulsive and unfair. Liam, realizing his double salary was still on the line, accepted the apology. Caleb's usual gruffness returned as he forbade Liam from resigning. He then ordered Liam to throw away all the photos and to report any future requests from his mother directly to him. As Liam gathered the rejected suitors and dumped them into the recycling bin, he felt a strange sense of relief. The man he secretly admired was flawed and difficult, but he was capable of recognizing his own mistakes. That, at least, was something. Life settled back into a familiar rhythm, free from the stress of forced matchmaking. Liam even started sleeping better. Then one afternoon, as he approached Caleb's office with a file, he heard Caleb's voice through the slightly ajar door. He was on the phone, his tone impatient. He was telling his mother to stop, that the dates were pointless because he had already found someone he was interested in. He was pursuing them, he said, and would let her know when it was official. Liam froze, the file feeling heavy in his hand. Caleb had a crush. It explained everything. His initial reluctance, his eventual refusal, his sudden declaration. A wave of cold disappointment washed over Liam. He had spent years harboring a secret, hopeless affection, and now the object of that affection was moving on. He quietly backed away before Caleb could see him. That evening, he met Ethan for a drink. The two commiserated over their romantic troubles. Ethan had recently been cheated on, and Liam confessed that his own secret crush now had their sights set on someone else. They drank, their shared misery fueling a reckless descent into intoxication. As the bar began to spin, Liam spotted a man across the room who looked uncannily like Caleb. Convinced he was a doppelganger, a cosmic consolation prize, he stumbled towards him. The man intercepted him, his face a mask of anger. He began to speak, his voice a familiar, scolding rumble, but Liam, lost in an alcoholic haze, simply threw his arms around him. He slurred a question, asking how much he charged. He wanted to hire him as a substitute for the real thing. He remembered nothing else after that, except for the feeling of being held securely as the world faded to black. He awoke to sunlight streaming through an unfamiliar window and the sharp, disapproving voice of Caleb Vance. He was in Caleb's apartment, in Caleb's bed. Mortification washed over him in a sickening wave. Caleb coolly informed him that he had been collected from the bar. Liam, still piecing together fragmented memories, could only stammer apologies. He was acutely aware that he was wearing Caleb's pajamas and that Caleb himself must have been the one to undress him. He ate a silent breakfast, dressed in his now clean clothes, and endured the car ride to the office with his boss in a state of profound shame. He spent the next few days in a fog of anxiety, replaying his drunken actions and wondering if he had said anything incriminating. He finally cornered Caleb and asked, his voice trembling slightly, if he had said anything inappropriate that night. Caleb looked at him, a slow, knowing smile spreading across his face. He assured Liam that he had said nothing of consequence, just some minor complaints about his co-workers. Liam felt a wave of relief so intense it almost made him dizzy. The relief was short-lived. A few days later, Ethan pulled him aside and recounted the full, horrifying story. Liam had not just complained about co-workers. He had treated Caleb Vance like a high-end escort, trying to stuff cash into his shirt pocket while clinging to him and refusing to let go. The truth sent Liam into a fresh spiral of shame. He now understood that Caleb hadn't been honest. He had been toying with him. This realization was followed by a shift in Caleb's behavior. The professional distance Liam had once demanded was gone, replaced by casual touches and lingering gazes that felt intensely personal. One afternoon, Caleb cornered him, casually mentioning that Liam's drunken description of his ideal man. Tall, well-built, looked good in a suit but was secretly kind, sounded remarkably familiar. He asked, his voice a low purr, if Liam wasn't just describing him. That was the final straw. The constant psychological stress was unbearable. Liam knew he had to leave, but he couldn't afford to quit. He discreetly contacted Caleb's father, the former CEO, and requested a transfer to a branch office, citing a desire for new challenges. Mr. Vance agreed to a meeting to discuss it. Liam arrived at the designated cafe early, his resignation speech rehearsed. When someone sat down opposite him, he looked up with a polite smile that froze on his face. It was Caleb. His expression was a mixture of fury and disbelief. He demanded to know why Liam was trying to run away. Liam stammered about career growth and new opportunities, but the words sounded hollow even to his own ears. Caleb listened, his patience clearly wearing thin. Then he cut him off, sliding a small velvet box across the table. He opened it. Inside was a simple, elegant ring. His new development, Caleb said, was a marriage proposal. Liam stared at him, speechless. Caleb leaned forward, his voice low and intense. He confessed that he'd been interested in Liam for a long time, but had been hesitant due to Liam's supposed crush. He admitted that all his strange actions had been clumsy, misguided attempts at flirting. Liam's mind reeled, replaying months of interactions in a new light. He asked what he had truly said that drunken night. Caleb's ears turned a faint shade of pink. He admitted that Liam had confessed everything, that he loved him. He hadn't said anything the next day because he knew Liam would panic and resign, and he wanted a chance to win him over properly. He had planned to take it slow, but Liam's escape attempt had forced his hand. He told Liam that his family already knew and approved. The meeting with his father had been a setup from the start. Status and background meant nothing to them. They just wanted him to be happy. Liam looked from the ring to Caleb's earnest, anxious face. It was all too much, too fast. He pushed the ring box back gently. He told Caleb that while the feelings were mutual, marriage couldn't be the first step. They hadn't even been on a single real date. Caleb considered this, then nodded in agreement. A relationship, then. They would start there. As they left the cafe, Caleb reached out and took his hand. The first day, they held hands. The second, they embraced. By the third, Caleb had kissed him. A month later, they were signing a marriage license. At the wedding, Ethan watched them with a mournful expression, lamenting the loss of his drinking buddy. Caleb's arm tightened around Liam's waist. Liam silenced his new husband's possessive glare with a soft kiss.